try not to buy stuff at the supermarket because most of that comes wrapped in plastic. So this is all organic. Whilst we're here, we feel, like I said, a responsibility to give something back.
The locals, I think a lot of people were actually quite surprised. A lot of people were watching us.
Get on camera.
What's it for?
This is our marketing exec, head of marketing, right behind the camera. Oh, now you, yeah, sorry.
She's not an exec, she's a manager.
And a qualified nutritionist.
What are the nutritional, get the words out. What are the nutritional benefits of what you are eating? It looks GMO to me, that does not look real.
Look at that, Mother Nature made that.
So the reason we're here today is because we are obviously talking a lot about plastic at the moment, right? We've recently launched our home compostable packaging, which is right here, but we don't want to just stop there. We want to look at ways that we can reduce our own plastic impact and just be more conscious of the plastic we consume, because it's one of the biggest problems and one of the biggest challenges that our world is facing right now.
Correct.
So what are you going to do today to consume less plastic?
Right, so first off I want to remind you to listen to our podcast, because Josh and I did an episode this week which was, I actually think it was probably the best podcast to date.
Okay.
Obviously, I've been on all of them.
Mine's next week.
She's next week, so she's got some work to do to trump it. But we were talking a lot about sustainability. We were talking about, can we just go to your t-shirt a moment? Reducing, reusing, repairing and recycling. And it was, yeah, so we've touched on all of those topics, which I think we'll talk about as the day goes on naturally anyway. But today we want to show you some of the things that we are doing to make an extra effort. The next kind of
to live more plastic free, because we all consume too much plastic, myself included, and we set ourselves a challenge here in Bali that we want to live as close to plastic free as possible.
Yeah.
Where we're at currently is not, we are struggling to be 100% plastic free. We feel that being in a country where plastic is such a massive issue and they're bearing the brunt of it, that it is our responsibility to do better.
100%.
So there's a few ways that we're looking to eliminate plastic from our own lifestyles. One of those is not shopping at the supermarkets here, because pretty much everything is wrapped in plastic, so we're doing everything we can to go to the local farmers markets, fruit markets, and we're going to take you guys there with us too, because they're amazing. They're super cheap, everyone's so friendly, and it's the best tasting produce you'll ever get. So
we are having to check each other a lot more, and I think this is where a lot of like the podcast inspiration came from, this video inspiration came from.
Yep.
And it's prompted us, obviously we've got a lot of other things that have kind of pushed us with that momentum too, but it's definitely raised it to the forefront of our mind that we really do need to start holding ourselves more accountable. It's all well and good being good at not using as much plastic as other people, but there are ways to just make that a little bit of an extra effort.
Yep. So we've touched on local markets. Anything else that we're doing out here? Anything else that you're trying to do? Obviously things like food wraps, right? That's a big one, to keep food fresh.
Yeah.
Instead of wrapping it in cling film, we bought some food wraps that you can just use to put over your food, keep those fresh, put things in Tupperware or anything that just like, even if it's just a tiny bit of plastic, right? I am fully hold myself accountable. Up until a few months ago, you know, my obsession with watermelon. If ever I would buy a melon, I'd wrap it in cling film after I was done with it, because it's just, I wanted to keep it fresh, I wanted to keep it crisp, and I just thought, oh, it's such a thin piece of plastic, like it's not going to matter, but that adds up. If I could see all the cling film I used throughout the year, like I'd be horrified.
Right.
And if I saw it wash up on a beach, then
Or wash up around an animal,
yeah,
creature.
Exactly.
So the one thing that I will recommend in the UK and the US and actually all over the world, you can get it pretty much everywhere now, is these silicone kind of lids. Have you seen them before?
Yeah.
So you literally just stretch them over. You can stretch them over bowls. If you've got leftover food, you can stretch them over fruit. You've got ones that are big enough for a watermelon or an avocado, etc., etc. There's so many more options out there now. So it's just using your noggin a little bit more.
Noggin.
Use your noggin.
So what we want to do is, whilst we're here, we feel, like I said, a responsibility to give something back. We realise we're in a really privileged position to be able to travel to places like this, and we hope that by coming here we can make a difference. So we're off to the beach. We're going to do a beach clean-up.
Beach clean-up. I mean, that's where I think most of it is kind of witnessed over here, and where they are receiving the brunt of it, and the oceans bless them, we just need to clear it up. So who better than to do it yourself? You want a job done? Number one thing that I found was definitely straws, plastic straws. I know that a lot of countries are starting to ban them, but they are still rife. Another thing was a lot of plastic cups as well. And obviously animals can just easily get caught in them. And the caps around the top of bottles, the little sealant, obviously a lot of fish or any kind of sea creatures, let alone land animals, can get themselves stuck in them. We found a lot of those, so I think it's always worth cutting them before you put them in the bin if you are going to use them. The locals, I think a lot of people were actually quite surprised. A lot of people were watching us. Hopefully that will plant a seed. The locals just then delivered us some of their pot noodles and put it in our plastic, in our trash. I mean, I definitely think that there's a lot of noise about plastic in Bali in particular, which is great to see. Before we get washed away, which is great to see. But at the same time, I think unfortunately when there's not so much money, it's actually quite easy to just end up going for the plastic option. So I think that's definitely something that needs to change.
We have come to the local market. There is an abundance of like fruit, veg, exciting things. So we're going to take you around. We've got the gang here with us. They're already snacking away. Oh, look what you got!
One I made earlier.
Okay, so that's one thing. That's another tip to add, is using recyclable bags. This one you can easily do, like, I mean everybody's seen these before, not necessarily the Vivo ones, but these kind of bags, you can easily just fold them up, wrap them up and put them in whatever bag you've got. So you do not need plastic bags.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
No. I'll try. Thank you so much.
Which we don't have.
Okay. Yeah, I can put them in.
But dirty.
Okay, thank you.
Guys, we made it back from the market and Josh is going to show you what we found.
We did a little local veg, fruit, herb haul. Just as we said earlier, we're trying not to buy stuff at the supermarket because most of that comes wrapped in plastic. So this is all organic. Some local lettuce, some local avocados. This one's kind of rattly, but it's fine. Some aubergine, asparagus.
There's some big aubergines.
Some big aubergines. We have the purple sweet potatoes, which are my favourite. They taste so good. They're really high in antioxidants too. We have tomatoes. We have, Axel, can you name this fruit? Rambutan. Kale, parsley, mangoes, fresh basil, dragon fruit. I have some homemade coconut yogurt, which is from a mainly zero waste store called Bali Buddha. And Tori, we finally found a cure for your addiction. Some granola. Zero plastic. And they have a refill too. So
but there's a hole. So if it all goes missing,
we'll
I can blame it on the hole and not on my belly.
We'll put it in some Tupperware.
So guys, hopefully this video has given you a little bit of insight onto some of the things that we're trying to do to reduce our plastic intake. I mean, there's so many different initiatives out there to use, and wherever you are in the globe, there's ways that you can impact this. So have a little think about what you're going to change and what you're going to improve. Let us know, and let's all unite on reducing our plastic intake.
Hey man, wait. A, why do you hold lettuce? And B,
I thought it was like a bouquet of flowers, but it doesn't come wrapped in plastic.
Don't forget to hit that subscribe button thing part.
don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Definitely like this video and give it a comment and let us know what you are doing.
Thank you. Boy. That's the new generation.